Well, look who's here on my computer. Julien, how are you? What's the evening like there?
Good morning, Max. The evening is great. I mean, there are worse places to be than inside your computer, so it's feeling pretty good. I see the couch behind you, so I'm guessing you got a story. Is that? Let me guess. Is that a painful story? Is that a travel story? Are you stuck in an airplane or something?
It is. It is a travel story. It is an airline story, and it is a mailbag story.
Oh, so it
So
isn't yours.
it isn't mine. It wasn't physically mailed to me. It was a conversation I had with two people a while ago, Rodney Hazard and Sandy Judd. They worked together, and they were on a business trip, and things had changed, and they had to make a change to their flight. They both were in the same meeting. They got a break at the same time. They had made the reservations at almost exactly the same time. It was the exact same level of reservation. So they both called the airline and said, I got to change my flight. Here's what's happened. Rodney, yes, sir. Thank you very much. You're on the other flight. Sandy, nope, sorry, can't do it.
Okay.
And apparently, and it wasn't like there was only one seat that allowed it, because Sandy then realized what had happened and fought her way and eventually got a change. But it just was this incredibly striking, two different people, the exact same situation at the exact same time. One got a yes, one got a no. It's just pretty bizarre. That's not one I've seen or heard of.
I love that because working in marketing, one of the things I enjoy doing the most is experiments, A/B testing.
Yes, this is your A/B.
and my team could confirm that. I love the whole scientific lab experiment side of things, to a point where it's even becoming annoying for people around me, where I like to document everything and really test and really drill into what's happening and why the differences and all of that. And that never happens in customer experience, at least as a customer. Right, you never really have a chance to test things and try to understand whether, I always have this assumption that I'm just being unlucky, but maybe I'm not unlucky. Maybe there is a real flow in the process somewhere, or maybe I am. And by testing it, you may be able to know, but you can never test it. Here you got a live test that they did not ask for, where they found out that one of them, Sandy, is apparently way less lucky than Ronnie.
Right, exactly.
Interesting story here. So just remind me, there are two people. They're on the same flight. They got to change the flight to the next one for whatever reason. And they are both deciding to call. Here is the starting point. They both made a call. That was not WhatsApp. That was not the app. That was not an email. That was not a form. That was a call.
Right.
And they called roughly at the same time.
Yes, not even all that roughly. They were in a meeting. They had a 10-minute break in the meeting. They had to call to make their change like right then. So they called it almost precisely the same time.
So they end up with the same team, just different people within the team.
Different agent. I assume it would be the same team. I don't know how it would be different teams.
Wow. So here is what's interesting. Because I don't know how you can, I don't know how to pinpoint the actual issue here. It feels like it could be two different things. It feels like it could either be the team has been empowered, but only one out of the two agents actually took that power to make the customer happy, and the other one was very stubborn. Here is a process. Let me read my script. That's not possible. I'm not going to pay any additional effort. And therefore, it may have been that the entire process is wrong, but at least one of them is thinking kind of out of the box customers come first. I've been empowered. I'm going to use it. That would be scenario 1. Or it could be scenario 2 where there is a real lack of processes and guidelines. And based on the agent you end up with, you have a very different experience because they define what the rules should be based on their mood or, general behavior or whatever that could be.
I think this is one of the rare situations where the difference isn't the atmosphere, or there may be a process piece to this, but really not even the process. It's this one clearly seems to me to be the agent, and I think both the scenarios you did, it's an agent decision that was made. It was just kind of the situation and the mindset under which the agent made it is the thing that's different.
Could it
yeah,
be? I'm sure you're not going to tell me, but maybe you will. So I'm going to ask anyway. Could it be that one of your two friends, colleagues, whoever they are, could it be that one of them is incredibly nice and polite over the phone while the other one is a little bit more pushy and did not make the agent very happy to start with?
I both are very nice when you talk to them at a trade show. Now, what persona comes across on a telephone, I don't know. That's not impossible that was the difference. This really feels like one got the nice agent, one got the mean agent, one got the agent. It could also be that one agent was brand new and just didn't understand how they could do something like that or something like that. It really feels like, for whatever reason, two people with the same problem at the same time, the agents responded differently.
So if I just put my corporate hat on for a second, and I'm the airline, trying to think about the cost of everything. Switching to a different flight, I'm not quite sure whether there is a cost involved, but if there is, the question could be, we're going to have to charge you another 20, 50, 80 bucks, whatever is it going to be. Are you going to be okay with that? But it seems that no one asked that question. So I'm assuming there is no cost attached to this. So the only cost that would be is the agent's time. And if that is the case, the fact that the second agent did not want to bother to save 30 seconds and in the end had to spend way more time on the phone with someone who was not about to give it up, probably wasted way more time than it could have in the first place, and that's a negative cost for the company.
Right. And it's also, it was pretty clear that this airline will be avoided by Sandy for the rest of her life, if at all humanly possible, with fair,
good reasons.
Reject me like that, I'm not going to be your friend, I promise.
Could there be another reason that would never apply to me, but I think that's something that would definitely resonate with you? Could it be that the first caller happens to have tons of miles and be a regular?
No, this is not. Neither one of these people fly this airline on a regular basis, so there was no difference in status.
Okay.
This was just purely two equal things. One got a yes, one got a no. And given that eventually she was able to get on the flight, it wasn't, you were talking about cost. That would be the cost if there's an opportunity cost of selling a seat. But my sense is that wasn't real. I guess there could be a situation where he was a minute or two earlier. He got the last seat that was at this tier of freebie giveaway. That seems pretty unlikely.
So in this case, if I put back my corporate hat again, trying to think about what does that mean for the company. So it happened. Now, usually when you engage with customer service, more often than not, you end up having a survey. And with this survey, exact same issue, exact same airline, exact same flight, same everything. One customer is going to say, great experience, 5 stars. The other one is going to say, terrible experience, 1 or 2 stars because I had to fight, which is incredibly confusing from a company's perspective,
Yes.
everything is the same, but the results are very different. So the question would be, what are they going to do about this? And the answer is probably you need to drill down and start listening to some of the recordings, get a better sense of, is this agent A always getting top reviews while agent B is receiving not that great reviews? Or is there a difference in terms of trainings, in terms of seniority, as you were saying? Could be that the other agent was a new one, or could be that the first agent actually was a new one, didn't know he was not supposed to make the
Right,
changes.
yeah, it could be that agent is going to get a lot of trouble for doing it.
Exactly. So
You know,
what would be your recommendation here? What is the company supposed to do about it, assuming they hear about that issue?
You know, what's striking me here is this feels like this is a negative outcome of something that we always love to talk about how wonderful it is, which is agent empowerment. Because if you empower an agent, you have to stand behind their decisions. And the fact that one agent made a decision to do the change and the other agent didn't, if you're truly empowering them, you kind of have to live with the fact that some of them are going to make decisions that may not really have been the decision you would want them to make. You know, you always think of this as the agent who chooses to go above and beyond, but it's also a choice to not go above and beyond.
That's an interesting angle you're taking here. So you're saying from a company perspective, assuming it's all based on empowerment, it's not necessarily an issue. Yes, it's a different experience from a customer perspective, but actually you may not expect those two customers to talk to one another. They may not find out that they got different treatment. It just so happened that this time specifically, we had that A/B test that is 1 in a million. And therefore it's not necessarily a problem to be fixed. It's just a collateral damage of empowering your people.
Right. And we're also making the assumption that granting this change is in the best interest of the airline, which I think it is. But there may be some underlying cost or something that, you know, it may be that the flight really was so full that they're going to lose $300 on this because they would have been able to sell that ticket to somebody.
And when you think about it, it's not that different from any experience you could have in any store where
yes,
you, Max, with your fantastic chatting skills, you may get a nice discount where I would be paying full price for the exact same item 5 minutes apart because either my skills are different or I'm talking to a different salesman who may not have hit his quota and definitely need to get the full price attached to his name. So it's probably it feels weird because again they've talked together and they know that they had a different experience at the same time, but it's probably something that's very common and no one ever think about it because we don't have that A/B testing in front of our eyes.
Yeah, you know, I think that's I guess so. I guess back to your question, I think I don't know what you do differently. I think empowering the agents is the right thing to do. This doesn't change my feeling about that. Maybe it's from a policy and coaching standpoint, you lean into, no, you should be doing this as much as humanly possible. Now, I don't know that airline's constraints and everything else. Who knows what's realistic there? But I kind of at the end of this discussion really feel like this was a negative example of something that I always love to see, which is, you know, we're giving the agents the power to do things autonomously, and guess what? Sometimes they're not going to do what, from the outside looking in, looks like the right thing to do.
And in this case, I guess the only piece of advice we could give here is use surveys or whatever other methodology to be able to get customer feedback and pinpoint which experience have been negative so that you can give additional training or feedback to your agents so that they tend to have more and more positive experiences and learn from whatever did not work previously. We're all humans. We all make mistakes, assuming that could be considered as a mistake. But if it does make a customer unhappy, it can probably fall into that category.
In a CX podcast, it definitely is a mistake.
Exactly. All right. Not sure. Have we solved the case? Did we fix a puzzle here?
I mean, I still feel kind of puzzled, but I don't know where else we can go with it. I think we've talked it through. We've come up with a lot of thoughts about it. I don't know where else to go with it. So yes, we have solved it. I feel we'll see how Rodney and Sandy feel. I'm sure they feel much better.
Well, if they do feel like leaving a comment below the video and give us additional insights or whatever, we could probably have a follow-up episode with additional insights at that point.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, thank you, sir. I wish I could say I felt better, but I don't feel worse. How's that?
Well, thank you for helping me with my A/B testing cravings. Appreciate the story, and I guess I'll talk to you next week with a story of my own. I also received something in the mailbag, so I guess that'll be my turn.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Julien.
Thanks, Max. Bye.